welcome back to another APC podcast recording. Yes. So today marks the 3 out of 4 or 3 out of 3. We're still not sure about the fourth episode collaboration, but yes, today marks the third one, a third video collaboration that APC Speaks has with APC PsychSoc. And to give proof to that, today we are joined by two new guests. Actually, one returning guest from APC PsychSoc. To my right is A, which is, well, if you guys have been here before, you know that she is the president of APC PsychSoc. And then down below, we have Daphne, who is. Do they have a position in APC PsychSoc or no? Okay. So we have Daphne, who's just a member,
A member, a
which is
very
fine
valuable
because
member of PsychSoc.
yeah.
I just want to say how valuable she is because PsychSoc is about to launch something next for SomaFest, and without her, it will not be alive.
Oh.
So
Let's keep that
it's a
under
very
wraps.
valuable member.
Yes. What I was going to say was members are as important as their leaders, because it's a saying that the worth of a leader is based on their members, because the type of members that a leader has basically reflects. No matter
Yeah.
how good your leader is, if your members are not, I would say, following after, or cannot hold themselves after that, then you're not really a good leader now, are you? And that's kind
I
of a
feel like this is a dig on me.
no, it's a hit on me. But yeah.
Uh,
There. So we have them as guests for today, and today, I completely forgot to introduce myself again. Hi, I am Allen Purto. I am the current Prime Minister of APC Speaks and the host for this podcast as usual. Okay, so there we go. So yeah, I guess we just start off the entire thing. And the way I start off all of my podcast recordings or all of these recordings is that I ask my guests, how are you guys? Or apparently the better way of saying it now is, how are you coping? There you go.
oh, how are we coping? Well, good enough. Not
Okay.
change. We're getting there. We're getting to the light at the end of the tunnel. How about you, Daph?
But yeah, just the same as you. It's a very difficult journey, but yeah, we're almost there.
Very
Yeah,
proud.
we're coping well. We're proud of.
Very proud.
Yeah.
Coping well in terms of what is my question.
Well,
Um,
if it's about this topic, it's still the same. We're at the end of that. But, in general, with with academics and stuff, it's still very difficult. But again, we're almost at the end of the tunnel. Just a little push. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So,
so
we are.
you guys are taking your thesis, correct?
yeah, right now. Yeah.
You guys are in the same class? No, you guys are the
Group.
same group, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your... So, I mean, before we actually go into the actual topic, I want to know how your situation is. What's your thesis about?
Our thesis is about the sleep quality and job performance of BPO employees, and we used self occupational self-efficacy as a moderating variable on it. So yeah, it's going well. Tomorrow is actually our mock defense. I mean on Monday. On Monday is our mock defense. So yeah.
How did you... Wait, why BPO? What brought you guys to that kind of topic, I guess?
It's best not to ask us because it's not our decision.
I got you. I got
Just
you. Okay.
don't
No,
go
yeah, 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 yeah. I get it. I get it. I get
We
it. I
don't
get
do
it.
that here.
I get it. I get
But
it. I
just
get it. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, 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 yeah.
You
I
know.
am well versed with that idea. Yes,
Okay.
definitely not
So
what happened to my thesis as well. Yes, I completely get that. Okay. Um. So with all that said and done, you know, good luck with
but
your
how about you, Alan? How are you as well?
Me? It's been so different. No, I'm joking. No, it's been fun. I am really just excited to go into internship already. I really am. I wanna get out of school. I wanna live my life. I'm 1 year overdue thanks to some classes, which we're not going to be talking about. But yeah, no, I'm 1 year overdue into getting into internship, and I'm just really excited. After this term, just straight to internship, and yes, I want to work already. My God, I'm so done with school. Yeah, no. Other than that, I just really want to get this over with. But yeah, life's okay now. Uh, times, well, I think it's common for everyone to say, but times are shifting, times are changing, and people are still, well, at first we were trying to get used to the idea of the pandemic, right? And then now we're shifting back into some sort of a non-pandemic but still pandemic situation. You know how they do the protocols and whatever. So yeah, no, it's an entirely new thing, but I think I speak for all of us naman that it's just another set of coping or another set of adapting that we're gonna have to be, applying for that to happen. So yeah. With that, our topic for today, our official topic for today, is something that was given to me by the both of them. Just like the last topic that we had, this topic is given by my guests, and I've talked to them beforehand to to see for me to see what kind of idea or what kind of perception they had of the matter, and I hope they're going to be able to express that well, and they're going to be able to refine their ideas on it. And if this goes emotional, then sure. I mean,
That's it.
why not?
If
Uh,
it goes emotional, let's just cut it.
just no, it's gonna. If you cry for 10 minutes, it's gonna be. Here in the podcast, as you guys may already be aware of. Oh, wow, my English died. As you guys may already be aware of, I like talking about things that are counted as taboo, quote unquote taboo, or basically things that people don't want to talk about because it's culture based, or people just don't want to touch the topic because it's too sensitive or whatever. But yeah, I don't really care about that, so I talk about it. And well, our topic for today is one of those things, as you guys probably already see from the title of this video. So our topic for today is, what is the official way of saying this? I guess.
Can I use the jazz dance?
Hmm?
Gaslighting!
Yeah, we're talking about gaslighting, but then, like, the question I
Yeah,
guess
with the
about
jazz hands
gaslighting
there.
itself is how can you, or how do you recognize gaslighting? I think it would be the question that we answer for today. But before we actually go on further into that, I would like to ask you guys personally, each one of you, how do you personally define, and this is with base of your experiences and what you are aware of in terms of study, if you studied about it, how do you define gaslighting? So let's start with A.
A lot of manipulation.
Okay.
Because that's what I usually experience. A lot of emotional, sometimes physical manipulation. They use different kinds of techniques to get you into a position where you lose. They corner you, and from then on, when you lose the first argument, you lose all of it. That's how it is for me. How about you, Dap?
Well, I think for me, gaslighting is basically psychological abuse, where your perception, your beliefs are changed because of the influence of another person. So
Okay.
they have that much power over you that they are able to change your beliefs your perception of reality. So, yeah,
Okay.
that's it for me.
Alright. So you guys have your, well, it's a lot more, so manipulation on a side, and for your definition, it's being able to warp your perception of reality, right? It's basically changing it. Okay. So in the perspective of gaslighting, how would you then define, you, the both of you, how would you then see, or yeah, what kind of symptoms then have you guys experienced of gaslighting? Or were you even aware of it when it was happening?
That's the thing. We weren't.
Okay.
Hearing the stories, hearing Daphne's, Daphne hearing mine, we weren't aware that these changes were being um given to us.
Mhm.
These are involuntary changes that we didn't think would have mattered because we were being conditioned
Yeah.
to feel a way how our uh how do you say that, predators wants us to feel.
Sure.
Predators. I really,
I don't,
really
yeah,
such
yeah,
a big
okay.
word, but that I think that's the part why, that's the reason why we want to talk about it, because not everyone is aware that they're being gaslighted, and vice versa, that they're gaslighting someone.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, Daph, do you wanna add something?
Just like what Ace said, you never really know. It's the first few times that you experience it, it's like nothing. It's like, oh, it's an argument. And then the longer and the more that it happens, you start to question yourself. You start to lose trust your with yourself, and then that's when you notice that, oh, it wasn't my fault to begin with. Oh, I was gaslighted.
Yeah.
It's what happened. Yeah,
Okay.
like that.
So, basing from your answers, and I think this is pretty common with how gaslighting really is that you're not going to be aware when it's happening. For majority of people that are not well versed with the idea of gaslighting, and even some, I mean, like, even some people who are well versed in the idea of gaslighting, your emotions can still be warped and could still block your perception. Could still block the way that you see things, right? So, even if you are supposed to be well versed with gaslighting, you can still be gaslighted. So, we're gonna split this entire conversation then between two things: being gaslighted and being the gaslighter. Right? We'll talk about the gaslighter part later. For now, let's focus on being gaslighted, right? So, when were you guys aware, or how did you guys come to the idea that you guys were being gaslighted?
Oh, well, how did I? Mostly from the perspectives of other people.
Okay.
From the people who knew me before being gaslighted, and the people who knew me after being gaslighted. So, that's when they start to tell you, the friends, they start to tell you, you weren't like this before. What happened to you? Because usually I'm a very feisty person. So I don't usually fall into arguments. I really like to fight. Wow. I really do. So after it, I realized most of my friends would be shocked. Why are you quiet? Aren't you always opinionated? Aren't you always picking up a fight? Then that's when it hit me na, oh, I'm not like this. I wasn't like this. This isn't me. So, I think you realize that you've been gaslighted.
Yeah.
From the perspective of other people, which, if they have seen it, you're already too late to change. For me, okay, I don't know about that.
Okay. That's that last sentence. Okay. How about you, Daph?
For me, it was actually I figured it out myself. it took me 3 years, to look in the mirror and say, oh, this isn't me anymore. I don't know myself anymore. Because before I was gaslighted constantly. Before that, I was a very jolly person. I was like, any minor thing that happens in my life, I go to my friends and like, "Huy, alam mo ba? It's like this, like that." Yeah. So I tell my friends about everything. And after a while, the changes were very minimal. Very minimal changes. It really is a slow process. The change. It was very slow until 3 years later, I didn't know how to share. I didn't know how to share anything. I try not to think about anything. I don't get emotional. I never do get emotional. If I start to feel sad, I immediately distract myself. I don't allow myself to feel any emotions at all. And that's when I realized now this wasn't me before. And it was that constant abuse that really changed me. So, yeah.
Okay. So basically, there are three things I picked up from the entire thing that you guys mentioned, right? So it's one is that it well, no, it not completely, but it changes the way that you are. Really does, right? Because you then start to doubt who you really were, because of what happened. But the other two things I picked up on was actually the last thing you mentioned, with her saying that if people realize it, it's already too late. She said that. Second is, are you guys genuinely aware of the separation between gaslighting and just being affected by other things?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so let's answer those two questions first, right? So let's start off with the second one I mentioned. For you personally, how did you differentiate? Because there's a lot of other things, right? There's a lot of other things when it comes to something that would change a person. A lot. And gaslighting is one of them. So how did you differentiate that what changed you as a person was gaslighting and not everything else?
Because for me,
Yeah.
this is a very specific example. Most of the arguments, when I try to say something, I get invalidated. I get shut down.
Hmm.
They say that, oh, you're just overly sensitive. So that made me question every time that I was feeling some sort of negative emotion. Okay, wait, am I just being sensitive, or is what I'm feeling valid? You start to question that. So that change came from being gaslighted, came
Okay.
from being invalidated. That's the kind of change that that it came from the gaslighting. Other changes, yeah, it's possible, but that specific one, it's the kind of example that you get from gaslighting.
Okay. How about you, Ed? How'd you differentiate being how did you differentiate like you being less feisty as a result of gaslighting and not from everything else that could have resulted to it?
I don't want to use that. I don't want to use that that example anymore. But this came from a very. This also came from. This example came from from a past relationship. Then, with him, I know myself as someone who's a person pleaser, a people pleaser.
Okay.
That's who I am, and that's how I've always been. And there's this need that I have to be perfect for everyone. Just because wow, why not?
Okay.
And then when it came to this specific person, I couldn't, despite wanting to be perfect, there's always this little thing that he never feels satisfied. Oh. And then after that, it's just this whole thing of being, I have to do more. Or whenever I try to be the thing that he wants me to be, it's never enough. He then tells me na you do better. You should do better. You should do this, this, and this, and this. To then making me believe na I am not enough. I will never be enough. I can never be enough.
Yeah.
Wait, oh. I froze.
Mm.
So yeah. Yeah.
So the reason why I asked, right, is because, and this is something I've mentioned a lot to other people na rin naman, is that you need to be aware properly of what caused what, right? Because if you're not aware of what caused what, you may, as what psych people would say as well, and well, actually not even non-psych people, just anyone from the medical professional field, is that you may misdiagnose, right? Because some people, if they are not aware of any of different problems, you could say, they may call it gaslighting when gaslighting isn't what's happening in their life. Right? So I was asking to make sure that you guys were truly aware where it was coming from, because you being aware of wherever your problems are coming from is the first step for you to be able to actually take a step. It's the thing that allows you to take a step forward to actually making your life better. That's what it is. Because if you're not aware of it, that hinders your progress as well. So for example, and just for example, if for example Daph said that she was being gaslighted, and that the change in her personality was because of this. If the problem was that she wasn't being gaslighted and it was actually her own emotional or own, for some people, because it becomes narcissism. If some people have narcissism, that becomes a problem then, because you then think about, oh, it's being gaslighted, so it's your fault, I don't have to change anything about myself. But then the problem is you're actually narcissistic and not being gaslighted, like that. And then there are some people who feel like they're narcissistic, but actually they're being gaslighted into being narcissistic. See the difference here? So being truly aware of what causes what is the first step. All right, so that's good that you guys were aware of what caused what. I want to just ask first, and I actually just want to reply first to what A mentioned a while ago before we go on any further, is that your friends figuring out, or your friends seeing, or whoever it is, family, friends, whatever, mentioning and seeing that you are a different person that you were, that's actually not too late. If anything, that's actually a good first step. Because you guys, going back to your definitions a while ago, this is something that you're not aware of, right? So what would then help you get out of the situation? It would be for you to realize what's happening.
But isn't it already too late because you've already changed?
Who says you can't change back?
Yeah, but kasi... You know what? Never mind. Go. Just...
No, but then go. Say it.
But then... The thing is... When it comes to change...
Yeah.
It isn't easy.
Yeah. Okay, here's the thing, right? It really isn't easy. But let's park that idea and let's grab a different example. What if you already have actual depression? What if you actually have anxiety as a mental illness? Is it too late for you to then live a good life?
There's always medication.
There's still something you can do about it, right?
Yeah.
So going back to just being gaslighted, yes, things have changed. You have changed. Yes, that is a given. But it's not too late for you to still live your life. And yes, it will take time. It definitely will take time, and it will become a part of the process of you actually seeking someone else's help, because you would then need an accountability partner. Because if you already doubt everything about yourself, you then need someone to remind you not to doubt the things you're not supposed to be doubting. So you would then need an accountability partner. Okay, so it's not too late. And if anything, and really based off what you guys mentioned a while ago as a definition, the first step then is for a person to then realize that they're being gaslighted. Because if you never realized that you were being gaslighted, you wouldn't be better in the first place. So it's the first step. And it's also an idea of perception. You need to be able to see things in a different perspective. Because if people tell you about it and then you feel like, ang kawawa ko naman, nagbago na ako, di na makabalik sa tao na, like that, right? Or if you feel really bad about yourself because you've already changed, that hinders your progress as a person. But having a perspective in your mind that, oh, I'm being gaslighted, so what do I do next? That narrative is completely different from, like, putting yourself down because you didn't realize. And knowing what kind of narrative goes through your head also changes the perspective of your life. It changes the way that you would, go on with your life. Okay, so with everything that has happened with the both of you, what kind of symptoms then can you say? This is a disclaimer for everyone. The things we're mentioning here, this is not scientifically researched with articles or something, right? We're talking about these are mostly like off the grid things that people may not be aware of because this is something that's not necessarily recorded. These are things that people may even be out. They may be afraid to talk about, and that's also a reason why there are some things that are not medically recorded because people are not talking about it because they're afraid of talking about it. So take whatever is gonna be said here with your own jurisdiction and just be smart about it and respect, please, anyone who would come into the show. Okay, so with that said, for you guys, what then were the symptoms looking back now, learning from whatever happened, and I'm genuinely hoping that you guys learned from what happened, moving forward with your future relationships? What kind of symptoms then, or from your experiences, can you see now as more like a checkpoint or a check mark or a checklist of a person gaslighting? So, for example, based on what you experience, now moving forward to your future relationships, what could be something that could be counted as like a flag? Like, oh, wait, he or she did that thing that happened to me before, so am I being gaslighted? It's not necessarily saying that he's gaslighting me. No, not necessarily. It's more just like a checklist or like a warning list of you possibly being gaslighted. Anyway, you can start.
Or I do like the red flags. But I think for me with gotta be honest there. But I think most important would be if the person invalidates my feelings.
Okay.
Especially, and if he invalidates my feelings and continues to, despite openly communicating, hey, look, I didn't like what you did there. Can we just talk about this? And then he just shuts me off. You're just acting crazy. That's a big red flag. And that is something like, oh no. Oh, I'm acting crazy. Got it. So, I think that's just one. Daphne? I think
Yeah, it's just like what A said, for me also, it's about now that because now I can easily recognize it. So, when I'm dating, and a person tells me, no, you're just being too sensitive, or when I don't like something that they did, and I open it up, or they ignore it, or they put the blame back to me na, oh, ikaw din ginagawa mo yun yung ganon, or like something like that. It's again a red flag, but it's not something na you can predict na the signs of being
Yes.
gaslighted. You can't really say na, oh, maybe this guy is a gaslighter. Maybe because this is his attitude, maybe soon he will gaslight me. It's not something you can you can see, pero once it's there, once you're being gaslighted on the spot, you see it immediately. Na, oh, no, 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 you can't do this to me.
Yeah.
Because it's a very familiar feeling. So once you once someone
you
makes
felt
you
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
that way again, no, that's not happening.
Once you've been in a position before, yun na, it's like, oh no, it stopped there. I
Yeah.
guess one ano
So,
din,
yeah.
siguro not being accountable for the things that they do. Kasi
Right.
usually, from experiences and from stories, there are people who redirect the blame.
Mm.
That's not them that's wrong. It's never them. It's always you. It's always you who could do better. It's always you that did something wrong. It's always you that tipped them off to make them do the things that they did.
Mhm.
Diba?
Mm.
Because I know people who are like that. And I think that's another red flag
Yeah.
besides the, what did I say? Besides the first things that I've said.
Yeah, besides being invalidated.
Yeah.
Yung never take accountability for things that they've done. God. Well, because I think the best, one of the characteristics of people who for people who don't feel like they're gaslighters, are those who can't accept that they're wrong.
Okay.
For me.
Yeah.
Okay. Disclaimer. For me.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
big disclaimer.
You're not far from it. Yes, you're not far from the idea. Yeah. There's a lot of. I actually saw this list online. And I didn't bother double checking it because this is something I am aware of. It's something that I know does happen with a lot of people, and there's a lot of people already like approached me about it, being gaslighted and stuff like that. And I'll read the list, right? So, someone trying to gaslight you may, 1, tell blatant lies. 2, about you, or to others, or about others, right? To you. 2, they deny they ever said something or did something, even though you have proof. 3, they make you question your own reality, which is what Daphne mentioned a while ago as a definition. 4, and this is very, very important actually. They use what is near and dear to you as ammunition.
Ooh.
Something that is
Yeah.
very, very important to you, whatever it may be, they will use that, right? 5 is that they wear you down over time, which is absolutely true because that is a result of it. Staying with what I categorize these people leechers, because they leech you off in multiple different ways. Gaslighting is one of them, and as they leech you away, they can just suck the life out of you. And this is something that if you're not aware of it, or if no one makes you aware of it, it will throw you off. It will drain you over time. 6, they throw in positive reinforcement to confuse you. This is not to be confused with love bombing. Are you guys aware of love bombing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so love bombing is a completely different thing, but it's somewhat the same. When they throw in positive reinforcement, so they confuse the way used. It's like saying, let's do a thing where they invalidate you, right? They tell you that you're just
Yeah.
being crazy or something like that. But then right after that, you're gonna be like, oh, thank you for doing this. Like, thank you for like being like this to me. Which
Isn't
then
that
what?
sorry, go. No, you
No,
go.
say it.
So, isn't that also the thing where, gosh, I forgot. Where they do something wrong, and then immediately, I only did this because I love you.
Yes.
I'm only doing this.
That
Isn't it like that?
that falls into
so
that too.
It's for you.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
it's
for
for you.
Yeah. They use confusion to weaken you, which is part of it. They project their own shortcomings or mislead onto you, which is what Abe mentioned a while ago. They try to align people against you, and this is without you being aware of it. They tell you or others that you are crazy, And lastly, they tell everyone else that, well, they tell everyone else is a liar. Because, and this is a very, very important thing. The number one powerful thing about, well, the greatest ammunition of a gaslighter is to make sure that you are not going to believe anyone else but them. That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing.
True.
Because the moment you believe someone else other than them, it will break the spell that they have over you of
Sure.
no one else is right, only me. And this is something that I'm pretty sure everyone is greatly aware of when it comes to one of our favorite movies, Tangled. If you guys have watched
Ooh,
Tangled, then you
yeah.
guys may be aware of the exact same thing. That, what's the mother's name again?
Awful.
Gothel. Mother Gothel does to Rapunzel, right? The entire movie is quite literally surrounding that. And I'm gonna bridge that over to me saying gaslighting does not only exist with relationships. That is really dumb.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Gaslighting does not only exist with a special someone. This can exist with normal friends. This can exist with your siblings or even your entire family. And that is something I genuinely hope God will forbid. Because, and this is something I always tell everyone else as well, I really hope that whatever struggle you have does not happen at home. I really hope so. No matter what it is, gaslighting, having a safe space, no, having a very destructive space, and everything else. I'm really hoping that that is something that doesn't happen at home. Because when your home is the place that you can't rest in, it ruins everything. Because if you can't even rest in your own home, where will you go? And that's where a lot of problems come in. Because you then run away, you go to friends, people like Laquacha to wherever places. We're not gonna go into that into deep, but yes, that is genuinely what happens. So I again, it sucks. It genuinely sucks not having a proper home. It doesn't have to be a perfect home. It just needs to be a home that
Where you feel safe.
where you at least feel
Yeah.
safe to sleep. It has to be that kind of, at least that. At least, you are aware with yourself that you're not fighting for your life when you're at home. Because it's a really, really trashy feeling. It really is. Alright, so that's part being gaslighted. Let's talk about being the gaslighter.
Can't relate. Joke lang.
How would you? So you guys have experience being gaslighted, right?
Sure.
Let's flip it. How would you be then aware that you're the one gaslighting someone?
Hard
I think-
for me.
I know.
Yeah,
You go proceed. It's okay.
No, you go first.
Okay. I think with my experience, okay, the one gaslighting me, I think the primary problem is that gaslighting isn't a very common topic in society. It's
Yes.
not a lot of people are aware of it, and that person who gaslighted me also isn't. So that's the first step. You have to be aware of what gaslighting is, because
Yes.
if you aren't aware, you wouldn't know if you're gaslighting someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but aside from that, when you're in a specific situation already, you know that you're gaslighting someone if there's a lot of power imbalance within the relationship. It means that you hold a lot of power over the person,
Okay.
and it's to the point that you can manipulate their decisions, their beliefs, their reality. You're aware of that. When you can do that to a person, you become aware of it. You see it naman eh. So I guess when you see that, then it's a sign that you're gaslighting someone. How about you, A?
Actually, yeah, go answer first.
Actually, my answer is just like Daphne. I'm always aware of the actions that I do. I always weigh my decisions.
Okay.
and how I act on the things that I should act.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that I can't ever be a gaslighter because I'm already aware of my
Yeah.
environment and of
Yeah.
who the people walk in it. It's just I'm saying that I have the power to, since I am aware. I know what you do, I know how you act, I know how you react, and it's just a matter of decency
Okay.
for me. Again,
Yeah.
disclaimer, for me, it's a matter of decency, proper timing. Okay, gaslighter point of view, decency, proper timing, and victim. Because when you're asking, diba,
Hmm.
the strategies of a gaslighter, I
Yeah. Yeah.
there
More
are
so,
two
how
things,
would you be
right?
aware then if you're gaslighting someone? Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, proper victim and the timing.
What is
So it's
proper
the
victim then?
proper victim would probably be someone who you know is vulnerable. Vulnerable.
Okay.
And the timing, yun, when you've already caught this person in a state where you know he or she is either confused or not feeling well.
Okay.
Or something. Sometimes din kasi the timing is always so perfect where you don't feel well and this person does. And then there's just something that hits you. It's like, ba't ang arte mo? But it's just a small thing. Ba't ang excited mo? It's something that sticks in you. Basta, it's like that.
Okay.
So, how do you realize you're a gaslighter is getting, yung sinabi ni Daphne about the power thingy. When you realize that you can control someone's actions, when you can control someone's actions, reactions, how they feel and how they think about a certain thing, that's when you realize, oh, I've got this person in my hand. I've got this person tied up in my fingers. I can make her think the way how I want her to think, feel, act, and react. That the entire package.
What's the difference of that to someone who's just really good at being able to bend perception?
Abuse of it. Kasi
Explain.
you overuse it, I guess.
Hmm.
Because it's not when someone who can bend perception naman kasi, you allow this person pa rin to express how they feel.
Okay.
Diba? You take into their consideration you take into consideration what they think about this certain topic.
Okay.
And that's when you put in more information from your point of view sa mga pinapaniwalaan nila.
Okay.
The thing about gaslighters is no, this is the only thing that's right. You can't have any other feelings but this one.
Okay. Okay.
So it's more of a forceful way of saying, ito lang, eat it. This is the only thing you can have. But unlike sa perception, you're allowing them to share the things.
Okay.
I don't like your reaction.
No,
What's
sorry.
happening here?
I remembered
No.
something. I laughed. Okay. no. Yeah, no. I get that. So the reason why I was
Okay, so yeah.
asking, kasi the reason why I was asking is because that's the thing that was missing, kasi with your definition of that, right? So I wanted to clarify that, because if we were just to take the first thing that you guys explained, I do that a lot. You are aware of
Yeah.
that.
Yes,
You
I am.
are aware that I can bend people's perception about me.
Yes.
And that's just because I'm lazy. I really just don't want you to go near me. That's literally all there is to it. But no, the reason why I was asking that kasi is because there are people kasi who can just genuinely influence the way a person thinks.
Yes.
A knows I could do that without me
Yes.
even thinking. But I don't gaslight them.
Yes.
Right? And I can influence the way you think, and you would end up following the way I think. It's just because I'm a leader. That's something I genuinely have as a skill. And so basically I was asking, what would then be the separation of that skill being under leadership and someone gaslighting you, which would then be what you guys piled
With
on.
that,
Yeah.
with that one, I guess it's all about the intent.
Yeah.
When you separate that,
Right.
into
But
that,
then like that's
it's
the
all
thing,
about the
right?
intent.
But then no, so I wanted to just double check that from how you guys perceive things, because
Mhm.
if you, again, you didn't mention intent a while ago. So if someone were to just grab that as a definition,
Yeah.
some people who are just good leaders might be seen as a gaslighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to just double check, and I'm trying to see it from your perception how you differentiate things, how you would then differentiate as someone who is just someone who is really good at influencing people's thoughts, and someone who really just wants to attack you. And the reason why I'm asking about this as well is because, like what A mentioned a while ago, is that even if you are aware of what gaslighting is, you can still unconsciously gaslight someone. I constantly look back in my life. I really do. I constantly look back, especially when I was in high school. If I gaslighted someone, to this day, I have my former best friend. Things didn't end well with us, and to this day, I still look back. I still think and I check. Was it really me? What did I do? Did I really do something? And every single thing I learn, I double check. And it goes back to the very first thing I mentioned a while ago, is you need to be aware of what really is the problem so you can start fixing it. Because if you misdiagnose, or if you get the wrong problem about yourself, you're not going to be able to move forward. You're not going to become a better person. So to this day, I still double check, was I gaslighting my best friend to make him feel the way he did? Did I gaslight anyone? Because if I did, then I want to know, because no one told me what happened, and none of my best friends told me what happened. They kind of just left.
Ghosted?
Some people,
Ghosted?
no, not even. It's an open leave. It's people just, the entire school knows about it. The entire school hates me. So, and no one explains things to me. So to this day, I learn about these things and I double check. And someone who became my best friend again. She came back, and we became best friends again during the pandemic. And she told me that I was bullied. I knew I was bullied, but then she gave me the clarity that the reason why you ended up hurting us, even though you genuinely really love us, is because you were bullied. You were drove into a really deep pit of depression and sadness that you didn't understand how to get out of it. You were emotionally dead. That resulted to you hurting us, which is what made us leave you. And she said that it's good that you're taking accountability for hurting us, but you need to remember that you didn't even want to hurt us in the first place. You hurt us because of you being bullied greatly by the school. So that kind of thing. And that's why I still look back to this day, because I want to make sure that whatever I learned was something that I genuinely didn't choose to do to people. And that's why I'm asking you from a perspective of a gaslighter, or you guys, how would you then be aware if you are gaslighting someone? Because you can still unconsciously gaslight someone, right? Okay, so with that, moving forward, how do you guys want to tackle people who may be gaslighting? Personally, how would you tackle someone or people who are gaslighting?
Many ways to respond to it. There are many ways. There are ways to respond to people who gaslight. Am I right? Are you asking us how we respond to people who gaslight?
Yeah. So now with the knowledge you have now, right? Moving forward, if you end up being gaslighted, whether this person is intentionally gaslighting you or it just so happened, because again, you guys said that there are people who aren't aware that they're gaslighting someone. How would you then approach it as someone who has experience being gaslighted? How would you deal with the situation?
It took a long time to realize. 3 years then, halos. I guess. Huh. Whoa, I was. Huh. Well,
Because you said you can see the symptoms of, you can see flags, right, of what could be some, or who could of a person that is gaslighting. That's a given. What do you do then?
address it again. My tip is to address it again. Don't
Okay.
beat around the bush. Don't second guess it. When you feel like this is wrong, just talk about it again. Don't let it, okay, once. If he does it again, then I'll talk about it. But I don't think that should be done na. If you see it, you talk about it.
Okay.
That's one. I'm not sure about anything else. What about you, Dap?
Well, yeah, again, that's one. Yun din yung sa akin is that now when someone says something to me, something like, you're being sensitive, I now respond, because before I apologize. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm being sensitive. So I immediately take into account na na parang ako pala may kasalanan, no. So now it's not that way. If someone tells me that I'm being sensitive, I say na no, I'm not being sensitive. Okay? You have to understand that this is why I'm feeling this, and that you should understand and listen and do this and do that, because some people really are unconsciously gaslight other people. So you have to talk to them. And if you aren't sure, again, if you don't see the signs, or if you're still too afraid to to tell them, because there are times that you still second guess yourself, so you go to a trusted friend or a family member and you tell them, hey, this is what happened, this is what I felt, is what I'm feeling, something normal, someone that would not manipulate you,
Okay.
someone that would not try to influence you in any way, shape, or form. So you talk to them, and then once you've talked to them, once you've thought about the entire situation, you go back to the one who gaslighted you, and then you open up the conversation. So again, it's just very important. Communication, open communication is very important. I guess, yeah, that's just it.
It's not just about communication, but also comprehension. If
Yeah,
he or
having
she
the ability
understands. Yeah.
to
Yeah,
understand.
that's
Yeah.
something. That's actually something I tell people a lot too. It's I just mentioned. I just realized I said that 3 times. Well, because there are things I tell a lot of people, but that is one of the things. When people say that communication is key in a relationship, it really isn't. Comprehension is,
Comprehension is
because
always
you can
key.
talk about whatever.
Anything.
Yeah, you can talk about whatever, and you can talk so much to a person about
much.
it. But if a person does not comprehend, or a person does not understand what you're trying to say,
You
nothing.
really go, yeah, you go
Yes.
nowhere.
Yeah, it will
Yeah.
genuinely go nowhere. So, yeah, as much as you guys communicate a lot, it's make
it's
sure
like
that the
you're-
person you're talking to has comprehension about the matter as well.
Mhm.
I guess additional na lang for me there would be, I mean, we're gonna wrap this thing naman already, but it's really to go back to the very root of this. It's really knowing your worth as a person, right? Because you wouldn't really second guess yourself if you actually understand yourself. You wouldn't second guess your thoughts if this is something that you constantly process. You won't second guess the way you think. You wouldn't second guess your reactions to people. You wouldn't second guess how you feel. You wouldn't let someone manipulate the way you feel into thinking that you don't feel that way if you actually know how you feel like generally, right? If you understand how you would react to situations, you wouldn't then be bothered by, or you wouldn't be thinking, ay, baka mali yung pag-iisip ko, or baka mali yung understanding ko sa situation, right? You wouldn't think that because you understand yourself. And this is something I've also mentioned na rin naman on the past two podcasts. It's to really, I genuinely hope, and I say this over and over again, it's kind of like a broken record at this point. I genuinely hope that people would give themselves the privilege and the option to actually, well, give yourself the privilege to explore yourself. Give yourself the privilege to actually know who you are as a person. What, like, know everything about you. And it's this is something that will require an accountability partner. This will require you to have to ask for help, because one perception in life isn't good. Having trusted friends, trusted relatives, trusted professional even, these are people that could be accountability partners for you, to be able to see things or to see life in a different perspective, in a different lens, which will then help you refine, which will then help you sharpen the way that you see and understand things, which would then help you become a better person, because we're trying to explore yourself to find out and to understand who you really are, but we don't want to be narcissistic. We don't want to be someone who just thinks highly of themselves and to be like, I'm always right, bow down to me, kind of thing. Right? We don't want that as well. And it's to really have basic respect and human decency, just like what he mentioned a while ago, to address things. Do you guys have goodbye messages or things to say to the audience?
I guess, as a leaving note, recognize it while it's still young. Recognize
A
it.
child? Oh.
The thing is, the thing about what you were talking about, kanina, the experiences that Daphne and I, even possibly you, have had about these instances, about the topic, is from a point of view where we were still
Unaware.
around 20. We're all around 20. We're still young. So
Yeah.
to have experienced that at a young age,
I was
knowing,
16, I think. 17?
see, Daphne even younger than me.
Well, your
around-
family, family, not your,
Exactly.
I'm talking about like,
No, you
yeah,
you
yeah,
were right
I'm
there
referring to
though.
like,
You were
I'm talking about like families in general.
perfection.
A lot of
Yeah.
families do that though.
We were young
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
All of us were young then
Mhm.
when it started. So to have acknowledged and to have experienced it, and now that na-recognize na, even a little bit at this early pa to early age, it's already, I can't say a privilege, but neither a blessing. But yeah, siguro it's a blessing that you've already, at this early, recognize the things that have happened to you.
Oh no, that is genuinely a blessing. It is, because
Diba?
some people grow up until like
Grow
50s, 60s. They never
Yeah.
realize this. They never
They-
found out.
and they turn to become the thing that they have feared. Diba? From being the
Star
victim,
Wars? Okay, sorry, go on.
from being the victim to turning into the,
Gaslight.
yeah. Diba?
I
That's
still
why we
don't
have
know what the right
parents.
term is for the opposite of the victim. I'm still
I
thinking.
know. It's like suspect, but no, it's not
No, it's
suspect.
Suspect.
it's-
Perpetrator.
Yeah, okay, let's go for that. Yeah, let's go for it. That's closer. Perpetrator.
That's good enough.
Still too heavy though, but yeah, go on.
Yeah. So, as a leaving note, recognize it. before it's too late.
Okay.
The smallest evidence, the
Inkling.
words,
Inkling.
the smallest inkling,
Yeah.
recognize it again, would save you a lot of time, a lot of hurt, a lot of finance, money, because therapy is expensive.
Yeah, it is.
It would save you
Therapy
a
is
lot.
expensive.
Yeah.
It would save you a lot when you recognize it again. What about you, Daph?
I guess just in addition to that is to always leave some love for yourself. Always prioritize your self-love, because when you love yourself, you can't be so dependent on someone else that you can be manipulated into, changing your own reality. You you have to have some form of self-respect.
To leave something for yourself.
Yeah, you have to always leave something for yourself, and to, like what Alan said earlier, na you have to take the chance to get to know yourself, to know what you like, what you don't like, what you feel, because when you know yourself, you don't get gaslighted because you know yourself. So yeah, it's just a little bit of something.
Don't give yourself too much.
Well, I mean, no. Like just like a lot of things has to be in moderation, because too much of everything is also bad. Like if you love yourself too much, that also breeds into narcissism, though. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah. It's a proper mix, really. It's So yeah, being able to not just recognize, actually address. If you can,
Yeah,
if you can
recognize
try
and address.
and address the situation, that's
Best
better for you.
do both.
But if it's at the very least being able to acknowledge, being able to understand things, will go a long way, because that will then help not have it fuse with who you are as a person. And going back to what I mentioned a while ago, it's never too late. Never is. No matter how difficult, yes, it genuinely will be very difficult. I would say it genuinely is difficult. Being able to break free, not just from being gaslighted, but from whatever situation you were in, whatever problem you're in. It's never gonna be easy, especially afterwards. But it's never too late. Oftentimes you would really think that's too late. It really isn't. Especially when, I mean, for example, in my case, the pain and like the things I went through, that took me 2 years of college. I'm on my 4th year now, and that took me 2 years, like my first and second year of college, to just process the entire thing. And that took and that's no, that's that entire thing is the recuperating process. It's not. I mean, I already recognized it from the start of college, but it took me 2 years to like fully understand what genuinely happened. It's to fully process where I went wrong, because there were things I went wrong, but where the other people went wrong, or what caused what. Was it really my fault? Was I pushed into doing that? And a lot of things. And obviously, this is something that is different for every person. But being able to acknowledge it, no matter how late it is, it's never too late. Just like any other problems you have in life, it's really never too late. Even chasing your dreams is never too late. There are people who's like 96 years old and they're still chasing their dreams, and that's what makes you happy. Then go for it. It will never be too late to. It will never be too late to be a better person. It will never be too late for you to become something more than you already are, right? And to what Daphne mentioned is to, what did you mention? What was the last thing? I forgot. I completely forgot. What was the last thing?
Last thing.
You mentioned
Love.
the second thing. The
Love.
self-love thing. Here you go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Being able to leave some for yourself.
Amazing.
It's the most
Honestly.
common thing, and that's the thing we forgot about. Self-love, right? And that is sued straight back to saying you being able to explore, to giving yourself the chance to really get to know yourself. You won't end up loving yourself if you don't know who you are. And that's the reason. That's even the reason why you end up falling in love with someone else. That's even the reason why you end up loving your friends, your family, a special someone. It's because you end up knowing who they are, and then you end up appreciating who they are. That's how it really works. So how are you going to end up loving yourself if you don't actually know who you are? So yeah. So to wrap the entire thing off, give yourself the chance to express yourself. Number one, greatest number one thing, give yourself the chance to express, explore and find out who you really are, like what Daphne mentioned, things you like, feel, don't feel, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And no matter what it is, gaslighting or every other problem, if you notice what it is, acknowledge it, find out what it is, and try to address it if you can. If you can't address the situation, or if things go wrong, then at least you know what happened, and you would then at least have an idea of how you're going to be moving forward with this in the future if you get something of the similar nature or under the same category. Good? Good. All right.
Great.
Thank you all so much for joining us once again for this recording. This is once again the third collaboration video that we have with PsychSoc this year. I think
Third?
it's this year. Is it this year? I don't know. We've had a lot.
Past 3 years.
Yeah, so for this one, and then we might have we might have a fourth one next week. I don't know. I don't want to say something to end. We're gonna find out. But yeah, with that, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you for A and Daphne for joining me for this recording session. Thank you for sharing your thoughts to the people, and to everyone else who's listening. We genuinely hope that you guys learned something. If not, then I just hope you guys enjoyed your time and you allowed us to be background noise for you to think about whatever else that you guys were doing or thinking about. All right, thank you all so much for joining and watching us once again, and have a great day, have a great life. God bless, stay awesome. Bye bye.